morning, everyone. Welcome to Rosewood Academy Leadership Live. We are in March. We're finishing up Q1. If Professor Scott Kelly, if you want to pop it up, the PowerPoint, we can kind of roll into it. Thank you so much. And then, as I said, Professor Scott Kelly, Entrepreneurship Instructor and Director at Campbell University, is going to be our presenter this month. Wrap up our Leadership Live. We always go in our why. Our why is to multiply the blessings and opportunities that have been placed into our trust. And moving past our why, we still go to what is new this year. We are wrapping up Owning the Leader Within. Q1 has been going on flawless. We had Scott and Terrence Lachey, but yeah, finishing up quarter one, Owning the Leader Within, building personal responsibility, emotional resilience, and grit. And so wrapping up March, we're going to be using AI to build personal effectiveness. So we're kind of taking our January and February lessons, February being grit, grace, and leading through adversity, as well as January, personal ownership and spirit of excellence, taking those two and kind of using those two skills and those two lessons to kind of build an AI persona. And Scott Kelly is going to kind of run through that and show us different ways and skills that we can do it at work as well as in our personal lives and just our everyday life using ChatGPT or using an AI, a different LLM to make us more efficient. Going to Q2, Q3, and Q4 coming up, we're going to be going and communicating with clarity and confidence. Q3, driving process, performance, and excellence. And Q4, future focus, values, and driven leadership. We got the Q1 pins going out this week. So for everyone who participated in quarter one and wrapped up all 3 sessions, thank you guys. We'll give those pins out this week. If you miss any of those sessions in January or February, please reach out to marketing. We also sent out an email campaign that has the YouTube link that you can go watch them. At the end of every lesson, there is a YouTube, there's a question relating to the theme or to the subject. Just answer it, write us an email, send it over to marketing. We'll give you full participation credit for that. At the end, we'll wrap up all these, have 12 completed, as well as a gift card, as well as a certificate that goes into your Cruxos portal. So thank you everyone who participates in those every month. If there's any questions or anything, don't hesitate to unmute, raise your hand. Scott Kelly's really good at looking through it. And then if you have any questions or anything, just write them into the chat. Me and Jay will kind of monitor the chat. But yeah, welcome everybody. Professor Scott Kelly, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining. So this may be a bit different. So I am going to invite and highly recommend and ask that everybody on this call will simply go to V0. I did put it in the chat. Go to V0 and register for V0. And as you do that, I'm going to explain why and the vision for today. So most people believe, and just kind of the media and kind of most people talk about the use case scenario for AI is chat. Meaning you go to ChatGPT or you go to Copilot or whatever, and you have this interactive dialogue with an LLM, a large language model. And that's kind of what most people talk about. What we're going to do today is we're going to make a mindset shift from chat to creation. And I would say this is a level up. And what it does, it enables your thinking to think, if I have a problem, I can actually create a solution pretty quickly with one of these vibe coding tools. So you've probably heard of a lot of these. So some examples of vibe coding. V0 is the one we're going to use. And the reason we're going to use it because we can do it for free. You'll have 7 prompts per day for free on V0. When you do 7, it'll say, okay, if you want to pay $20 a month, you can get unlimited prompts. So V0 is one. There are several other ones. Lovable is a popular one. Replit, some of them are a little bit more technical. V0 is super easy. V0 is really set up just like, it looks just like an LLM. It's basically, what can I do for you today? And instead of you saying, build me a marketing plan, you're saying things like, build me an interactive game that teaches people how to build closets or something like that. And it will build you an interactive game. Or build me a tool that does this, this, and this, and it will build that. So that's the level up. That's the working session we're going to do today. And one of the reasons too that we're going to do it is about a month ago, all of a sudden I started to get messages from people that said, hey, have you read this article? And when my dean sends me something and says, hey, he sent me a text message at 10 o'clock at night. He said, oh, you need to read this article. And I thought, oh, if the dean is sending me this, I need to read it. And actually, it really went viral in most of the business world. And it basically talked about this one developer. He was a software developer. And in that particular week, he realized that AI was actually developing software better than he was. And he went through all the history and all that. But in the end, he really said his antidote to that that progress is just to spend time experimenting and building every day. Now, I don't know who has an extra hour every day just to try new things, just to experiment. As much as I'm into this, I probably don't spend that, but I do try to budget a little bit of time, at least every couple days, just to try out new things using what we're going to be doing today, either V0 or I've got some other tools that I try to use, but just to be building. And the doors that have been opened and the ideas that have come just from the building process, I've got so many ideas, it's a bit of a disease, but it is in the building. So when you start to build things, then you start to get the vision. When you see problems, you're thinking, oh, maybe I can build a solution to that. And I don't need an IT department or I don't need a programmer to do it, but I have the power to do that. All right. I am excited about the future. I think the future is bright. There's a lot of people that are scared about job loss and all that, but I am confident if we are in the building mindset that we can have bright futures. There are companies that are a bit concerned. You know, if you can build any software, you know, think about Salesforce and HubSpot and all these companies that have software. I think they are somewhat insulated at this point, but there's some little, you know, smaller software companies that maybe we can build our own solutions. That's a thought of what's going on. Okay, so the big question is, what do I build? So I'm going to switch into my browser here. So, okay, so my hope is that people at this point have joined. I know Melissa has. If you will put in the chat, if you're on board here with building something, just give me 15 minutes, maybe, or more. This person org has either blocked by yours or is blocked your, Jay. So Jay, you're saying that you can't access V0, is that right?
I don't know why that's coming up in Teams, but I do have my V0 account already activated. I'm on the home screen where it asks me where I want to create.
Okay, great. Well, this is the screen I hope everybody is at. And I'll take you through this. Before you do anything there, I'll take you through just an example, okay? So Antonio said, hey, this is about AI personal effectiveness, using AI to be more effective. And so Antonio, what I did, I just took your email and said, hey, I am going to do a vibe coding session for Rosewood. Actually, I did not mention Rose. By the way, the one caveat, I did ask the leaders at Rosewood, hey, can we really do this? And they said, yes, as long as we don't put anything obviously confidential, any company proprietary information into this. So this is going to be a simple prompt into a vibe coding tool. So don't put any obviously confidential information, but I just took the info that you gave me, Antonio, and said, hey, I'm supposed to be presenting about this. Give me some ideas for that. And so I went to, and then I said, and then the answer, it actually gave me, because I actually have done this a lot, it gave me some options, and then it gave me the prompts to put in V0. So phase 1, phase 2. So I took those prompts and basically copied and pasted into my V0. And what happened, so it put it there on the left. So that's the prompt that I put in based on the question I asked, and I asked it for a prompt in my LLM, and I use Gemini, you can use whatever, but it will give you prompts, and then this is what it built me. So we talk about effectiveness. It built me a Pomodoro counter, which the research talks a lot about if we will focus for a particular amount of time. So this actually works. I can do, okay, I'm going to focus for 25 minutes. I'm going to work on my Rosewood presentation. And maybe I put it over here. The one essential task, I need to finish my presentation and set my focus. All right, so I'll work on that, go work on that for 24 minutes, come back, and I can click done. And I can say, yes, I am done with my presentation. So that was one thing, literally that took 5 minutes. And the process was, first of all, I asked for ideas, what are some ideas? And I could choose, I could have done I did the deep work dashboard. I could have done the AI journaling coach, and that would have given me a prompt, or the task prioritizer. And if you don't like those ideas, you can say, give me 3 more ideas. Okay. So here's where we can do it. So I'll show you an example. So I know Melissa is on the meeting here. I said, I'm an HR manager, and I want to vibe code a tool to make me more efficient at my tasks of hiring and training the right talent. What are 3 ideas I could build? So it gave me 3 ideas: cultural fit scenario simulator, dynamic career path mapper, and the bias blind resume distiller. And I chose the cultural fit scenario, and then I went over, said, okay, give me the prompt, and it gave me this prompt for V0. So I copied and pasted all this, build a modern React-based web application. It should do this, this, and this, visual style, interactive. So I put all that into V0, just like this, on the left-hand side. And that's the next screen. After you put it into V0, you come up this. It builds it on the right side. Then what you have to do over at the top right, you have to click publish. And when you click publish, I've already published it, so it says update. If I click visit site, it actually has a URL. So V0/culture fit or dash simulator Vercel is the company. And so literally this works. I could say, I'm a marketing manager. Let's say Melissa is interviewing for marketing managers. What are your core values? You can click integrity, innovation, and then generate scenarios. And it will generate some scenarios for potential candidates, and you can evaluate those. So that's the concept of this. And if you have ideas, obviously you can just go right to your Gemini or your LLM and say, these are some tasks that I want to automate. What would be a V0 prompt to build a solution to help me with those particular tasks? If you know it. If you don't, you can simply go to this is my role. I'm an HR manager, and I want to vibe code a solution. Here are the tasks that I'm supposed to do every day. What are 3 ideas that I could build, or 5 ideas, or 10? You can kind of, as the human, this is human plus AI. We are vetting what would actually be helpful. Then you can take that prompt and put that into V0. Okay, so I'm going to stop. So that's 14 minutes at this point. So I would just love for those that are here to start trying this, to build something. Would love to see and hear what you all build. And this, again, this is a mindset shift change. It feels like we have our jobs and we come to work and we do our jobs, but budgeting a little bit of time, and hopefully we can take a little break from our email for the next 40 minutes or so here, and just build something. And maybe we build a couple things. It takes a couple minutes usually, but I would love to hear from those that build things. So I'm going to pause there for a second. Questions? Any questions? Comments? Love to hear. If anybody's done this, feel free to put it in the chat, or if you want to go off mute. I'm happy. Looks like 40 people are here. So yeah, would love to hear.
Good morning, Scott. It's Chandler. How are you?
Hey, who's that? Oh, Chandler. Hey, Chandler.
How are you, sir? You
Well,
went through it pretty quickly. I wonder if you could take a little time to explain
yes,
reverse prompting more, especially for
sure.
those that hear the idea of building something and aren't overly creative or have a lot of wonderment about
Sure.
how useful AI is for reverse prompting, which was, your string of questions. What could I do with this job position? What could I think about? What am I missing? Use it
Yes.
as a idea partner rather than you having to bring an idea to the AI. So if you spend about 5 minutes, I think, there's a good portion of people here that are excellent operators that may not love
Yes.
blank slate of,
Uh,
creation. So,
I love it. Yes. And this is the idea of give it as much detail as you can. So I just went to my give it your role. I'm an HR manager. I'm a marketing manager. I'm the COO, and I'm looking to be more efficient. Um, and you could put out your tasks. Is there some specific tasks that you want to vibe code a solution for? You could do that. If you don't, if you're just, I need ideas. So give it as much info as you can about your role and your tasks, and then say, give me 3 ideas that I could build. Um, and what Chandler's referring to, reverse prompting, you could say, I'm an HR manager. I am this role. Ask me some questions about what I do every day, and then it forces you to think through what's a day in my life. So and you can also add in that's one way to do reverse prompting. Then you can also, as you say, I'm an HR manager, and you can say, here are my roles. Um, you could say, I want to build this, but before you build it, I want you to be very clear on what you build. So I want you to, before you build it, I want you to ask me some questions. So you give it as much information as you can, and then at the very end say something like, before you build this, ask me some more questions. So you're making sure that before anything is built, you're giving as much information as you can. What did I miss, Chandler?
another one for me is if you just tell it things that maybe annoy you or drag your time
Mhm.
down throughout the day, and then ask it to suggest ways to address those or alleviate some of those frustrations or problems. It's pretty good at
Mhm.
coming up with those things. So,
Yeah, I love it. And it's going to come up with things. And my experience too is usually on the third prompt, it can come up with better ideas, right? So if you say, hey, what are 3 ideas I could do to do that, and it comes up with 3, give me 3 more, and then you're in this vetting process. A popular quote is, this very talented advertising guy said, I'm really not a writer, I'm an amazing editor. And when we're asking AI to help us come up with ideas, we are the editor. We're putting on our editor hat and saying, that's not good. Make this better. I like that, but I want to tweak it in this way. So it is this, we're getting to and really the goal here is to get to the right prompt, meaning, so we're starting with what we're going to build. And then when we figure out, okay, the culture fit simulator, whatever it is, if we're in HR, that's really what I want to build. Then the step 2, once you figure out that's what you want to build, then you can say the next prompt is create a V0 prompt. V0 is our vibe coding tool. Create that prompt that then you can go into V0, put that in, and come up with a tool. Now, when we switch gears, we can do the same thing with V0. Again, we have 7 free prompts. So let's say if I'm at my cultural fit simulator here on the right, I don't know why it's not previewing, but I just put that prompt in and it told me everything it did. I'll help you build this, and it tells you everything it just built. So this, oh, there we go. You can see the preview now. You might say, I don't like the way the job role is. So I want to modify the job role to be more specific or whatever you want. So you can modify the app as well, and it will think about how to do that. And hopefully develop a tool that for you specifically could be helpful, could be make you more effective in your day-to-day tasks. The other one I did come up with, I might have it here somewhere, but I always go back to the closet because I love the closet business. I had and I'm just making a pure assumption here that somebody goes out and does a quote for a closet at some point, right? I created a closet quote tool that if you put in the dimensions, you put in what wood you want, you put in all these things, it would come up with a price for that particular job. Maybe you already have an off-the-shelf thing that you do with that, but this is really good about things that you don't have a current off-the-shelf tool for that you use, but that's something that you do every day or once a week or whatever that could just make it easier to give a quote or give some kind of analysis of a particular thing. All right, I will pause there. I'm going to stop. I'll go to. Would love to hear ideas. I'm actually happy to build. If somebody's, can't do it for whatever reason, somebody give me your role and I will go through it right now. Or if somebody has built something at this point, would love to hear what you built, hear about your experience.
Scott, I'm just to jump in here. This is Bryson. As I kind of thought about this from a more personal perspective, what are some fun things that might be to code and thinking about you, Chung-Lo, when I say this, but building a wine recommendation kind of suggestion tool that's not based on generic assumptions, but something that you like in the past and what can it recommend next. You can do that for your next binge watching series. If you're parents, there are plenty of tools that you could build. The frustration of picking what you're going to eat for dinner, all those sorts of kinds of little engines that you can base on personal preference. Just to give those out there some ideas of things that you can do. Gift idea generators, budget, age, those kinds of things. I know that we're taking that a little bit outside of the business world, but there's plenty of applications for this from a personal perspective as well.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Family wise, I've got teenage daughters and I've definitely gone to AI to help me with some advice. And it actually was pretty good. My daughter went through a breakup a year or so ago and I didn't even tell her, hey, why don't you ask? She kind of has grown up a little bit in that world. And so she said it was really helpful to her, though. You have to be careful. Sometimes I'll ask my students, when is the right time to have what's the right age to have an AI boyfriend or girlfriend? And the answer is never, right? And so we do have to be careful in letting it seep into too much, but it can definitely be helpful in our personal lives. My latest project that I've been super excited about is in writing books. And when I say writing, it's really curating, but I've always wanted to write books for my students. And so I've spent several hours the last few weeks in kind of curating what would be an interesting book that I think could be most impactful for students. And that contains a lot of biographies. I don't know who on this call has pulled out their textbook from college and read your textbook. Probably not. But you definitely probably read a lot of business books, a lot of biographies. And so what I've been doing is curating, and I'm building a system to write books based on biographical sketches. So if you want a book that has a little bit of Ernest Shackleton, a little bit of Steve Jobs, a little bit of Taylor Swift, a little bit of P.T. Barnum, you can put all that together. And so I've been building that system kind of in my spare time.
So I was able to build it was pretty cool. I put in prompt in there about, let me read my prompt real quick.
Okay, you
It
can
was,
share, Antonio, you can share your screen if you want.
Okay,
Can you show us what you built and explain it and how your process?
Yeah, I can do it real quick. Just going to I use ChatGPT. Let me share it real quick. Got it highlighted right here. You guys able to see? So I was able to build like a task journal system. So this year I bought a planner that kind of breaks down my habits and goals, and it breaks it down to daily, weekly, and monthly, and kind of see how that builds off. So kind of using some of the systems that I've learned with like Asana and Monday, but making it more kind of easier to clean up and a little better interface. So that was basically my prompt, was to create something like that. And it kind of took it and evolved it, where it broke it down to top 3 priority wins, habit tracker, task buckets, quick notes, and then the weekly view. Then it goes to the monthly view where it has percentage of task, which was pretty cool that I didn't even think about adding in there. So it kind of added a little bit more. But then I also added personal and life selection for like how many times I walk my dog per day, how much time I'm spending where I'm not recording, as well as like smart suggestions, daily reset flow. And so I was able to put that in there. And the way it was building out was doing 5 sections, and it was pretty cool because me and Jay over here, we built design or websites here for Rosewood. And so seeing some of the wording and text prompts where I was watching the computer, I guess, do some of the functions and test some of the diagnostics of some building sections it was doing, but it was really cool to see. So it took about I guess 5-6 minutes for it to prompt, but I was able to build me a whole entire, basically what I was looking at, the section percentage, kind of a dashboard, CRM type of selections, was pretty cool, as well as the personal book, dentist appointment, grocery list, and just kind of walk, playtime, tracker, like I don't know. It was pretty cool seeing it, and I do see some things I have to update and fix, but it was pretty cool seeing it come to life. And so I was just talking to Jay. We're working on a website right now. I was like, oh, I can use it to also give me ideas on how to clean up the UX design of a website, and if I'm having trouble to describe what I'm trying to build, or even how to lay it out with some ideas, put the prompt in there of the information that's going into a website and have it built it out. Because I think right now I'm not able to take certain elements from what it's building code wise and then put it into a Elementor website front end builder. But it was cool. And then, yeah, I just, while doing this, got me thinking with Jay over here, who's just next to me. I was like, oh, I got to build a section on a Hemwise website. And so I was thinking about, oh, by building that, I can at least ask it to give me some ideas on how the formatting should be. Then I can go back and make that actually build that in Elementor. And I think Elementor also has a website builder kind of like this, but it doesn't work as great as what it literally built me over here. So thank you for telling me that. But I did notice that Claude is built on VO. A lot of the prompt systems and tools are from Claude that's pulling. And so that's where, yeah, I guess you and I were talking about that earlier today.
All right. Others who have built something, and feel free to give me a role, and I'm happy to experiment with your role and give you ideas as well.
Hi. I was kind of doing
Okay.
more of a very specific thing. And, since we're not supposed to do our company things, but, we send out daily emails, and right now we have to export and, do a mail merge and all this kind of stuff. And so I was trying to just kind of type in like what would be needed for a plugin or a interface with our existing CRM. So I don't know how much, I can't go much further, I think, without like specific fields in the CRM and all that kind of stuff. But it's been interesting, like what it's giving me, like coding, and it's asking me, like giving me options, which one would I rather? And then so I've already, like, just in the last 10 minutes, I feel like, I have like this much stuff that's something could happen with, once we were able to actually use something that we can trust, I guess, for our proprietary software.
Yeah, that's great. And V0 is probably less well, we shouldn't say that. Claude Code really is the one I know. I think Antonio is starting to play with that or something, but it's a bit more technical, and it can and Claude and V0 can too. But anyway, but yes, I think there's definitely options as you kind of go down this road. This can be an introduction, but just know that you could definitely probably craft a tailored solution as the company kind of embraces, and you all are doing great in that. So yeah, great. Thank you for sharing, Kelly. Who else has built something that might be helpful, might be interesting? Since I know our COO is here, I put in the prompt. Let's see. Let me share my screen. I said, I'm the CEO of a company that creates epic shopping experiences. For example, we design retail shopping displays. Give me ideas on vibe coding solution that could help me. The ideas it gave: the experience scorecard, material and mood estimator, and the creative block. And obviously it's going on this shopping experience. And so if we wanted to vibe code the experience scorecard app, you just copy this. I can just say, create a V0 prompt for the experience scorecard app. Okay. So it'll create my V0 prompt. Build a fans first retail experience. Should feel like a premium tool. So I'm going to copy that, go over to my V0. What do I want to create? Put that in. And that will take a minute or two. While that is building, who else? Okay, Antonio, thank you for sharing your task journey.
Yeah, my I guess software is still being created, but I tried to design an app where I can drag and drop photos and videos into, like, I guess, a designated area. I'm able to give it a brand, give it a caption style, and hopefully it is able to shoot out different kinds of captions for various softwares. And I'm able to give it prompts in this app once it's finished to make it shorter, make it longer, make it more professional, make it less professional, etc. So I'm really excited to see where this goes, because when I was prompting in the ChatGPT LLM, and you were saying tell it to ask you questions, it gave me so many questions, and then I answered those questions, and then it gave me clarifying questions, and then clarifying questions on those. So it was very, very dense and in depth, and I'm excited to see how all of that will kind of fall into this app creation.
Great. No, I love it.
And I actually went through and did a recruiting and resume evaluation, and it's working on the importing of a PDF resume, but it had you log in to or data enter previous clients, so it would sort and locate the matches and do the initial sorting, so you don't have to do it manually. And it's still kind of in the works right now.
Great. Yeah, it does take a minute or two. to build that. Great. Who else wants to share here? Well, while you're thinking about that, so again, chatting level 1, I would say building, coding, because that's really what we're doing. And when I say vibe coding, that's the industry term, I suppose, of you're prompting and then it codes. And as you kind of think about that, level 3 really has started to emerge. The last month or two, there's been a tool called OpenClaw come out, and I don't recommend anybody download that yet. I mean, there are some security questions, but what it has done, it has opened up this idea of an AI assistant. And so as opposed to you putting in the prompt and doing that, you basically ask your assistant to do that. And you're gonna hear more and more about that, because OpenAI, which is the maker of ChatGPT, acquired OpenClaw not too long ago, a few weeks ago. And what that means is, some people say Sam Altman, who's OpenAI CEO, wants to basically inject OpenClaw, which is the AI assistant, into every company in America, every company in the world. And so that's what's coming as well. So you got chat first, then you start to build things and you build your own solutions. And then possibly level 3 is all of us have AI assistants where literally we just say, hey, and a lot of my friends have named their assistants, right? So one of my friends has his assistant, Jane, and he actually gave Jane an email address and a phone number. And so Jane occasionally will send me a text message and say, hey, you and Dave had a conversation about XXX, whatever. We need to schedule a follow-up to that. And so I'll work with Jane to get on Dave's calendar to follow up on that. So so as you kind of master the coding and working, building things, on down the line is kind of an AI assistant that that you can be a creative companion with, and you can ask it to build things, and you interact via text message, or I have a friend that even installed a phone. So imagine your assistant calling you and saying, hey, Scott, good morning. What can I do today? And just picture somebody sitting there 24/7, just waiting for you to tell them what to do. And the mindset that I have shifted to is, what are workflows that I could tell somebody to do? So for example, the books that I'm creating, if I can create a workflow and say, this is the workflow, I want you to go make me a book, and here is the flow. I want you to research, then I want you to create the images, then I want you to create the titles, then I want you to format it correctly, then I want you to create a PDF. So that workflow, if I can hand that over to an assistant, that's the game changer, where the scale is 24/7, you could have something running. So that's like next level mindset that in the last few weeks I've started to think about workflows, and if I were to have an AI assistant to do things for me, what could I have them do? And when we talk about leadership, when we talk about delegation, that is what some people are starting to do. But yeah, questions on anybody else want to share? Love to hear about, I just get excited about building things and love hearing about people building.
Scott, I'm gonna hop in and share the Chunglo's wine recommendation tool.
All right, let's hear it.
And I will share over here.
There we go. Thank you, Bryson.
So there you go. And in Chat GPT, really just said exactly what we were talking about. If you like this, then you'll like this. What's your favorite bottle? What's your favorite vineyard? What's the last thing you tried?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, over here, then drop that all in. It created all of the data itself, gave you drop downs.
There we go.
Text input. Gave you an option to play it safe or push you out of your comfort zone a little bit and get your
I
recommendation.
love it. There we go.
I'm gonna have to
All right,
subscribe to
thank-
that.
Yeah, there you go. I'll share the project with you, Bob.
Brian is wondering when you all are going to have wine together.
Well,
And who's
I'm
paying?
pawning this off on Chunglo, but I built it for myself.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and-
or
Go ahead.
I'll share my project. I remember back in college, I was doing stuff with material science and everything, and we had these tools where you would I don't know, like select materials kind of for a specific engineering project or whatnot. So I've coded this tool which like kind of has like all these like different things that I remember like I don't know software that we use for the school, like this kind of emulates that for sure. So it's pretty interesting to see that, you know, a project like that can be done in like, I don't know, 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, and Scott, that's our developer. So
Yeah, I'm looking at that thinking, whoa, wow, okay. Yes, thank you. That's, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool for sure. I'll
So
have
did
to.
you just did that, Kellen, or this was a previous project? Or
Yeah, just did that, and I think it took like around 7 minutes or so, which is kind of wild, but yeah. No, and it has all these like different ways of I don't know, seeing the materials. There are some things that, you know, I'm looking at, or that I would look at in the code and be like, okay, I want to do it this way, but it definitely does like have potential for like further I don't know, updating or whatnot.
there was a question that Antonio put in the chat. How do you distinguish between real productivity gains and just feeling busy faster with AI? Love this question because there's a couple things to be aware of. Okay, this is definitely an investment, and some of this we have to be okay with chasing, you know, going down a rabbit hole, and we say wasting, but we're investing some time. Some of the returns are not there, so we do have to kind of manage our time appropriately. But my experience has been, as I've done this, I feel like I've been exercising these muscles, and some of the projects I've done have not gone anywhere, but some of them have just opened my thought and my mindset to other projects I didn't even think about. I would not have thought about if I would not have gone down the previous roads. So there's that. And there's this thought of we should not be using AI just to do what we currently do faster. If we're just doing that, we're saying this is our current task, just do that faster. That's really not, I mean, that will work, and that will, in the short term, possibly increase our productivity. But really what we're looking at is potentially how do I modify the current processes to be AI native, where some of the things aren't even applicable because you're using AI. So that's really, you know, some people are talking about building their business differently. So if you have a current business and you have all these processes, then you bring AI in, and some people say, okay, AI can just make that faster, or AI can totally redo some of the processes and make some of it not even applicable because you're doing it a totally different way. So there's a couple ways to think about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that question. We've got more time here. Love to hear from others.
I can jump in here. I'm actually will be getting married here at the end of the year, so I went the personal route here and decided to build a little wedding planning dashboard. So Here, I can share my screen.
Ryan, I'm glad you're doing this. Actually, I have a friend that a company hired her to build basically a tool to get guys involved in wedding planning, because apparently traditionally the guys are not involved. Ryan, you're probably super involved but sometimes it's the mother-in-law and the bride that are, yeah, they're doing. And so somebody paid her $10,000 to come up with like this, tool to involve guys. So continue, Ryan. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, so I used Gemini as my LLM tool and just kind of put in a quick prompt saying when and where we were getting married. And this was the prompt that it provided me over here on the left side. And it ran for about 6 minutes, and this was the outcome here. So got the overview with everything going on, the countdown clock, and then you kind of came up with some other tabs for the budget, guest lists, preferences, and vendors. So yeah, pretty cool.
Your fiance probably will appreciate that.
She might say
I don't know.
the color palette might be wrong, so we might have to revisit that.
You've got 6 more prompts there for the day for free.
And you can use Bryson's wine selector.
Great. Yes, that's how innovation happens, right? AI is really good at merging things. So yeah, I love that ability to say, okay, yeah, you want to merge the wine selector with the wedding planner, for sure. You can do that. Anybody else willing to share? Thank you for all those personal things. Yes, I think that definitely helps you with ideas at work as well. Google years ago, they had what was called 20% time. They actually gave employees 20% of their time to work on interesting projects. They don't do it anymore. I mean, I'm sure they got busy or whatever. But the concept, I think, is just from a planning perspective, it feels like we're at a point in our careers and in the world where it is getting more critical just to budget a little bit of time to research and figure out what's out there and to be constantly kind of building. I mean, you think about, all the great builders, Edison, the prototyper, Dyson, who, built 5,000 prototypes and eventually got to the right one. So this idea of building, I hope as you all finish up this leadership live, that's the real message, is if we can budget a little bit of our time to be building and to exercising those muscles. My experience has been there's been a strong return on investment in our time, especially as we have the ability to build literally anything we want. We're only limited by our ideas at this point. And so with V0 and Claude Code and all the other builder vibe coding tools out there, we can build whatever we want. So appreciate everybody that's going to build things. Anybody else? We have time for one more. I don't want anybody to leave here thinking, oh, I should have shared.
Okay, I can share mine.
I know some. Oh, okay, Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, I need to take a screenshot. Hold on, I got to take a screenshot of this, Kelly.
Oh, gosh.
Kelly was a star student at Campbell University. So, Kelly, thank you.
No problem. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay, can you see this? Can you see it?
Yes.
So I work underneath the chief strategy officer and we deal with a lot of strategy. So I did something that kind of captures like the organizational health of like various departments and parts of the business. But I tried to keep it with like a floral theme because I'm very visual and I thought it would be kind of funny or cool to see kind of like the growth in terms of like flowers growing. But it also kind of captures like various agents. Obviously, this isn't real, so it's not real, but it can capture like agents and what's occurring in like each department's agent and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. Like you said, I mean, it's not perfect, but it literally happened in like less than 5 minutes. And I think it's cool how everything's just developing so fast to kind of, like you said, it really is just more of, do you have the ideas that can set you apart? And do you still have that innovative mindset? Because that's not going to go away because tools like this are only as good as the person using them. So I really enjoyed this, like tweaking it and making it better and stuff. So yeah.
Kelly, one question. Were you in my class when we actually did any of this, or were you before that?
I think I was like in the first, I think it was, I don't know if it was 310. It was 310. We started building a website using ChatGPT, trying to get ChatGPT to write the code and then making
Okay.
a website from that. So I was like in the first, I think, wave of it. So yeah.
Yes. So we didn't probably use Vibe Code yet. We probably were just asking GPT to give us code, and then we would
Yeah.
upload it and try to view it in a browser. But this is next level. So
Yeah, it
awesome.
is.
Was
Thank
that the first time? Was that the first time you vibe coded something, Kelly? Just there?
Not the first time, but I haven't done it much. So I would say it was definitely like a learning process, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and I like the dashboard concept. I mean, there's a lot of dashboard opportunities. It feels like to keep track of things and to keep you on task as to what where you are, from a
Yeah.
finance perspective or from a project perspective. So there's a lot of software that builds dashboards.
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Are there any Rosewood leaders that would like to say anything to end our session here?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. And first of all, thank you again for jumping on Leadership Live, walking the team through it. We do spend a lot of intentional time asking people to do personal projects. I think that personal projects make it much more relatable than just saying, hey, go play with this code creation website tool in order to make your job better. That's a pretty difficult stretch, but I do think, to Bryson's point, and I see what he saw to Ryan and Brian getting a custom wine selection website built for him. He needs to add a column for, do you know the winery owners? Have you visited? So you got to add that for Brian because he's been to most of them. But the personal side to me makes it much more relatable. And so I do like the fact that people are building things for their personal life. I think you spot errors more quickly, things that you wouldn't think about maybe in a business context when you have personal touch with it or deal with other family members or friends. You spot issues to me much more quickly because they're relevant to you in everyday life. And so I think it makes you a much better vibe coder and a much better prompt and context person when you're dealing with AI if you start on mainly personal, relatable items. Thank you for that, and I'm glad to see that pop in.
Well, thank you everyone for joining our March Leadership Live and completing our theme 1 of the year. I think the session was great. I feel like I was talking to Jay. I was like, oh, we should start like a bi-weekly little team meeting. Whoever wants to join in the Thunderdome or something, and kind of build off whatever, just kind of showcase what we've learned or what we've done with AI or what personal things we've done. Because the wedding planner would have been good. I got married a few years ago too, and that would have been cool. I think AI wasn't there yet. When it comes to some of the design, build website stuff. So that's really cool to see. But thank you, everybody. This will be on YouTube this week. We'll share it on the our weekly newsletter, as well as a newsletter that will go out to the field and office. So thank you for everybody participating, creating. Happy AIing today. And so thank you, Scott Kelly. Thank you so much for Campbell and Dr. Eberbar. Thank you guys for running this session and let us be more active on this one. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Scott. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you.